The UN is celebrating the WHO, the World Health Organization's redefinition of gender dysphoria. This is a major win for transgender rights, apparently, as it drops gender identity disorder as an official diagnosis. It is now called gender incongruence. And it is not a mental disorder. Will this help transgender people? I'm going to give you a few examples, but because there are problems about what I can say on YouTube, I'm going to use some props. So I'm going to use this. This, these, this, and this. And I'm granniopteryx. Okay, so look, there are a couple of people who are actually subscribers to my channel who are transgender. It must be really very difficult to have one body and a mind that isn't at peace with that body. There are other problems like people who want to who go in for extreme body modifications. They're not happy with their bodies either. It just happens to be the sort of thing that sometimes goes wrong with people. But I don't see what changing it to gender incongruence, how it changes it. In fact, it might make it worse because it is a mental disorder. There is something wrong when your mind isn't right with your body. There's something wrong. Now, if it's a mental disorder, you can get some sort of help for it. I'm not saying like electric shock therapy or aversion therapy, or I'm talking about just general mental support. So I don't see how this is going to help. And then we see this here. It is time, it says here, for the world to recognise and celebrate the rich diversity. You should always get worried when you see rich diversity here of human nature. Yes, there is a diversity of human nature, and it's more comfortable to be in the middle of that diversity than on the outlying edges. That doesn't mean to say the outlying edges have to be persecuted in any way, but it means we have to understand that they are not the norm. And most people are, in one way or another, in that norm, especially with gender identity. And then they ascribe this here to UN experts. Look, experts. They don't say anyone in particular, just experts. And when you hear that, along with the term rich diversity, you know that people are just throwing words around which are supposed to make us feel like we should be towing the line. So I'm going to remind you of something that the WHO did fairly recently. The WHO and their experts said that a certain pardon me, that didn't go from one hand to another. That's what the experts said. But then, after a while, the experts changed their minds. So much for experts. And then they decided that the best way to deal with this was with something like this. or indeed with something like this. Oops, sorry, wrong way round. Okay. And then they said, we all had to take up knitting. That's what all the experts said. And a lot of us disagree with those experts rather strongly. Now it turns out that if people have what used to be called gender dysphoria, and we have to celebrate the rich diversity, instead of encouraging people, for instance, to come to terms with their homosexuality or their discomfort with their bodies before certain irrevocable steps are taken. No, if this is just gender incongruence, then all that's left is this. And that's the experts for you. Okay, well, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share, share, share.